Welcome back, everybody. Over the years, you have known our next guest as the Duchess of York, Her Royal Highness, or simply as Fergie. She has, without a doubt, lived a life that could fill several books, and up to date, she has written an unbelievable 77 of them.
And while many of those were children's books and some of them were autobiographical, her new book, Her Heart for a Compass, marks her debut as a novelist. And so we're thrilled to have Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, joining us from the Royal Lodge in Windsor today. Welcome to the show, Duchess.
No, it's fantastic. I've come all the way to Canada. Yay!
Listen, your new novel, as we've read, it's inspired by the life of your great-great-aunt, Lady Margaret Scott. Now, the story, however, we've noticed, it is fictional, but there seem to be a lot of similarities between you and the main character. So there's hair color, for example, social status, perhaps a rebellious personality. How much of yourself did you put into this character?
Well, thank you so much for having me today. It's really exciting to be here. Now, why did I choose Lady Margaret? Well, my middle name was Margaret, and at the time, 15 years ago, when I chose that, I hadn't realised there was a Lady Margaret Cameron or a Lady Margaret Montagu Douglas Scott that was my ancestor. So it's pretty exciting, and it's sort of made me feel that we should really immerse ourselves into ancestry, find out the DNA and why I am so strong and rebellious and all the other things that go with me. Lady Margaret had many brothers, which of course were all written about. But why wasn't she written about in real life? So I decided, well, if you're going to write a novel, then you've got to take the best, forget the rest.
Duchess, you've mentioned that the main character in your story, she's a rebel. She doesn't like the way high society has restricted her. And so obviously people are going to make the association to you and someone who you yourself have lived a life where you were expected to adhere to guidelines and duties. So talk about how freeing was it to write about a woman who just refused to play by the rules?
It's very difficult not to use my hands as enormous tools here, because I'm so passionate about my character. So I'm going to sit like a good person for a second. But that good person will only sit for a second because she's a naughty child. So yes, I think there's an incredible amount of freeing having this enormous character of Lady Margaret, who, of course, as we say, it was a real ancestor of mine. However, we have fictionalized her. But it's kind of fun to be able to ask Lady Margaret to do the things that I might not be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Another common thread throughout your novel is the scrutiny that Lady Margaret gets and experiences from the press. And, you know, the wider conversation across the world is how tabloids not only treat those in a certain status, but certainly how they target women in particular, and you are no stranger to any of this in your life as well. You know, if you can go into that personal part for a little bit, what has the scrutiny of the press, what toll has that taken on you personally? Where do you sit with that relationship today?
Well, I often think about what my grandmother said when she said, if you can look in the mirror and not feel bad about yourself because you know it's truthful what you see, then you've got to keep going on. The British newspapers in particular, I'm afraid I believed every word they wrote, and I didn't realise that in all my 35 years of public life that actually it wasn't real. I took it personally, and so it's really caused an enormous amount of toll on my mental health. But it's something that I'm here talking to you about. So you're able to understand it once you logically get your head round that they're selling papers. That was in the old days. Now we come to social media. Now we come to the trolling, the keyboard worrying, the abhorrent, anonymous trolling. And then this now does become really out of control. So that's when, whether it was the pandemic or whether it was Lady Margaret or who it was that got me to really get strong enough to be in my authentic voice to talk to you both today with such strength, because I'm really proud of what I've achieved today. I'm really proud of the fact that they didn't get me.
During this pandemic, we saw the interview that Oprah did with Prince Harry and Meghan, and they spoke very openly about the toll that the tabloids and social media had taken on their mental health, and that was part of the reason why they had to take a step back from the royal family. So, you've come through this on the other side. What have been your strategies to strengthen your mental health over the years?
Well, the problem I had with my mental health was I chose food as my friend, and my life, I put food here and my life in a little box on the corner. And I learned over the period of time of really seeking therapy and really asking for help for 27 years now, that I've managed to turn that around, and life has gone here and food has gone to the little box, if I may say, to anyone watching. If you wake up and you think, I can't do this, I'm full of self-doubt, oh, it's awful, I look fat, ugly, disgusting, whatever you want to say about yourself, you've got to see the shadow as the shadow and put the shadow in the back seat and drive the car from joy. And you just keep having to turn to joy, keep turning your head to joy. Now, J.M. Barrie wrote that very well with sewing the shadow on Peter Pan's foot. So it's always going to be there. It's never going to go away. I'm 61. It's still here with me. But this time I'm driving. And it's in the back.
So, Duchess, people love to jump to conclusions, especially when it comes to relationships within the royal family. They take one event, like, for example, you not being invited to Prince William and Kate's wedding, and then they run with it. So, set the record straight. How much does the public get wrong about your current relationship with the royal family?
Well, I don't think the public get it wrong. I think a lot of public believe what they read or hear. And I think and I've always thought this, that the way to lead is by example. So as I sit here today and I say to you, I've got an amazing first novel, and I'm so proud of it. That is an example that, all right then, newspaper men, have another go then. Try and pull me down now then. You go and write a novel then. Or you go and have an Oscar-winning film with the young Victoria. Or you go and build 156 schools in Africa. That's fine. But you make a choice. The more you continue on the successful route of just keep going, keep your heart open and keep working and keep being there in authentic truth, I believe that eventually they surely have to drift away. Point two is when you said about William and Catherine's wedding, and whether I wasn't invited or was invited to other things as well. When you make a choice to be divorced or make that choice, don't then expect anything from the choice you've made. You make the choice, that was your decision, and so you get on with it. And then if you turn around and say, well, I didn't actually, but if the British press or any press all over the world say, oh, she wasn't invited. No, I didn't expect to be invited because I'm divorced. I'm an ex-member of the royal family. I'm extremely proud of my wonderful mother-in-law, and I maintain wonderful strength in what I believe to be a great culture, a great tradition, and I'm very proud of, with integrity, of standing steadfast to that.
Keeping with this theme of strong women, you dedicate your new novel to your daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. During this pandemic, Beatrice got married. Eugenie gave birth to your grandson, August. So what advice do you give your daughters on how to navigate this very public life?
The great thing about when my mother left when I was 12 is I guess subconsciously somewhere in my head, I have always been a very present mother. Today is today. And I believe the secret to good mothering is to be there. Don't always look to, oh, what's happening at the end of the week? Oh, are we going out to dinner on Thursday? Well, what about today? What about right now? As a mother, my advice has been to the girls is to really check your little shadow which is sewn onto your foot and try not to go let the shadow thieve you of the light of today.
Duchess, it has been so great having you on the show today. Thank you so much for being generous, so generous with your time.
You both look fantastic. And I think that I should, when we're allowed to, I should come to Canada. And I think I should be as a sort of, I should just come and do a one-off host with you guys.
The next time you're in Canada, please come visit, sit with us in the studio. We'd love that. The book is called Her Heart for a Compass, and you can find it everywhere now. Get yourself a copy. We'll be right back.